Today, we're going to talk about live stream strategy for social media managers. So if you want to 10x your income this year, if you want to upsell your existing clients to help them build authority online, then you're going to love today's episode because we're going to talk about how to be a social media manager that also produces live stream shows for your clients. Stay tuned, everyone. It's the business of live video. Dun dun. That's our new theme song. I hope you really liked it. My name is Owen. You can give me 5. That's right. Type 5 into the comment section below. That is how we say hello on this show. And if it's your first time here, remember to type new in the community area. The chat box is what it's actually called. You know what I'm saying? But we like to call it the community area. Type new if it's your first time here because we would love to hear from you. And remember, you can always skip ahead to the 10-minute mark if you want to dive right in to the content. You know, you're not interested in building community. You don't want to get to know me as a person. You just want to jump right in and skip ahead to the 10-minute mark. You're welcome to do that. Otherwise, stick around because we've got a great pre-show. We're going to say hello to our live audience watching us all across the web. We're going to do some giveaways, and we're going to recognize some outstanding members of the community. But first, we want to give a big shout out to the folks who make this entire show possible. That is the folks over at Restream. Restream is the only broadcast studio that you'll ever need to go live anywhere on the web. And you can get started for free at epiclivevideo.com. That's right, folks. Just go to epiclivevideo.com. Oh, and by the way, when you do, you're going to be entered to win a Rode Pod mic. This is one of the best podcasting live streaming mics that are out there. It connects to your computer. It connects to your soundboard. It really is a phenomenal piece of equipment, and you'll be entered to win this when you start a new account over at Restream or if you upgrade your existing account. So just go to epiclivevideo.com. We're super glad to have you here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's say hello to those of you watching us live today. I want to say what's up to Indy, who's typing 5 in the comment section right now. My man, Edward J. Weinberg. Can I just say about EJ Dub is what I call him, Edward J. Weinberg. EJ Dub has been a friend of this show since the beginning of time itself. It's true. It's true. There's no lie there. So Ed, it's good to see you, and I love everything that you're doing. Livestream Labs is saying, I want to just recognize Livestream Labs for a second because he's always got something to say. He's always creeping up from behind me. And I got to keep my eye out for this guy. But he's saying, hey, were you just using a countdown? Yes. But notice that you only saw 2 seconds of it. If you've ever watched this show before, you know we have a thing with countdowns. Facebook user is logging in saying, hello, I wish I could see your name. My man, Jeff Ruby, logging in. By the way, Jeff Ruby just launched a brand new YouTube channel, and it's fantastic. You should totes check it out. Good to have you here, my man. Thai-tastic logging in from Thailand. My man, You Do It, is saying, sup, nice people. Bridget Lim Banda, who herself is an excellent live streamer, is logging into the show today, and we are glad to see you. Livestream Labs is about to post an experiment related to countdown timers. I'm super pumped. Oh, Harley's here. Good. I thought I saw your name, Harley, and then I didn't see you again, so I wanted to say what's up to Harley Pebley logging in. Always good to have you. And my man, Larry Kozin, logging in. Larry, I love seeing, I'll tell you the best part about live streaming on this show is getting to see some of you over and over and over again. So here's what I want to do. I want to ask you guys this question today. I want to ask you, what are you working on right now with regards to your live stream show? Talk to me about it. I want to know about your projects. I want to know what you guys are actively working on. And maybe we can work some of that into the show because you know that I always like to recognize the outstanding members of our community that are doing great stuff. But I also like to hear what's going on in the live stream community. Cube TV Ghana is saying, my first time here and I'm glad to be here. Dude, I'm glad you're here. What is a Kyle Garahana from college? My college buddy. I think we did a project together way back in the day. He says, I'm working on myself. Man, I love to hear that because I'll tell you, it's a tough thing to go live, on the internet. It's a tough thing to create video and then to post it on the web for people to critique and for people to sort of like judge. And you know what? I think it takes a lot of courage to do that. And courage comes from within. So, big high five to you, Kyle, and to all of you that are out there working and developing yourselves. Let me ask you guys this. What are you reading any books right now on personal development? I just finished Atomic Habits and I loved it. But we've got some people talking about the show. Larry is saying the best part of my Monday is this show. I love it. Carlos, keep that up. I'm grabbing a screenshot of this right now on my Restream studio. I love seeing stuff like that. Thanks for making me a part of your Monday. What do we have out here? Larry Cozen saying, great video on sound effects. I appreciate that. Thank you. No, seriously. Thank you. It's fine. It's fine. We're all friends here. Let's see. What else do we have here? Ty-tastic is saying, I'm interviewing the police. Harley is saying, I've only done a couple test live streams, just recently got my internet service upgraded to a level that supports it. Hey, that's important. I myself have like 10 megabits upload speed, and that's kind of what we need. Oh, I'm looking at this comment right now. Christer Bovin, my friend from the Netherlands, is saying, I'm working on a website to stream live from there too. I think it's a fantastic idea, guys. For this whole series that we're doing today, we're going to be talking about live streaming for social media managers. This whole series that we're doing is designed not only to engage you, the active viewing audience, in a live fashion, but also to put inside blogs that we can rank on SEO and get some evergreen traffic to it. And we're going to be talking about that in the future on this show. So be sure to subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube, or click the follow button if you're watching us on Facebook. Harley's asking a great question. He says, for speeds, you must be in an area that has Utopia. Well, let me tell you something. I don't live in Utopia, but I do live in a neighborhood that has 10 megabits upload speed, and that certainly helps me. Hello, Owen. Explain what the title means exactly. Okay, today's episode is called Live Streaming for Social Media Managers. And so whether you are managing social media for your own business or managing social media for other people's businesses, then you're going to want to get geared up for today's show, because we're going to be talking about how to go live for yourself so that you can get more customers. But we're also going to be talking about how you can manage your client shows and sell live streaming as an upsell service. And I think this is really key. I'm trying to look at a camera that's not there. This is really key. Okay, because I actually started as a social media manager of sorts. I was really more of like a video manager, and we did social media, and we began to sell live streaming and YouTube as a service. We made twice as much money. But you're also going to learn about how to repurpose a show so that if you work with a client that's already doing live stream, you can easily jump in and help them to do that. But before we get into today's topic, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a segment that we call Streamer of the Week. And Streamer of the Week is when we recognize a member of the Restream community for outstanding work in live stream video, but also because we want to acknowledge the movers and the shakers that make this world a better place. And this week's Streamer of the Week is none other than my friend, Mr. Paul Duke. Paul Duke has been a friend of the show for a very long time. He is an excellent live streamer doing a lot of good for the world. But you know what? I can have Carlos explain it a little bit better. Let's learn more about our Streamer of the Week, Paul Duke. Instructor in Vancouver, Canada, teaching English to non-English speaking worlds. Paul loves helping students learn and understand better the English language, and he live streams on YouTube and on Facebook. His channel is called Hard Boiled English, where he makes unique educational style videos to help you solve the mysteries of the English language. That's right. And Paul is this week's Streamer of the Week. So congratulate him. We put a link to Paul's YouTube channel in the comment area. We want to invite you to go over there, follow his stuff, and learn from what Paul is doing. And if you want to be Streamer of the Week on this show, then all you have to do right now is share this video on your timeline. Share it on Facebook. Let people know that you're watching a great show and that you want them to come be a part of it. Or tag your favorite live streaming friends or entrepreneurial friends in the comment area. And our fantastic producer, Carlos Cepeda, will pick next week's winner from the comments, from the people that are actually engaging on this channel. Okay, who's ready to dive into our content for today? If you're ready, say yeah in the comment area, because we're going to be talking about live streaming for social media managers. And my question for you is this: are you a social media manager as a job, for a business, or for yourself? Let me know in the comment area right now, because today's content is really designed for the social media manager. So let's get started. As you guys know, we're going to repurpose this for a podcast. And so we technically take a little pause here, and then we start to get going. So we'll take our pause in 3, 2. Today, we're talking about live stream strategy for social media managers. And when we talk about live stream strategy for social media managers, we're really going to break it down from 3 different perspectives. We're going to be talking about live streaming to get leads. I think that's the most important. That's why most of us are here today. We're going to be talking about live streaming to get leads for your business. So if you want to learn how to live stream and how to grow your business by going live and getting customers, we're going to be talking about that a little bit today. But I covered that topic in great detail on last week's episode. So I'm posting that link to last week's episode in the description box below. And I want to invite you to go check that out and watch it in great detail. But we are going to cover it in review a little bit today. We're also going to be talking about how to live stream for your clients. And this is going to be the bulk of today's show. We're going to talk about how to produce and manage a live stream show so that you can sell live streaming as a product to your client base. Okay. And then finally, we're going to be talking about live stream repurposing. And live stream repurposing is this great blending. Let's say that you are a social media manager and you meet someone who's live streaming already without your help. Well, how you as a social media manager can help them to grow their show and to promote it on social media, thereby adding a secondary product or a third level product onto your offerings, while also learning how to grow a show. Okay, and I think if we're really going to break it down today, I think that that's really what it comes down to. Is I'm going to show you guys how to create a live stream show, and then really like the checklist for that, how to create a live stream show, and then how to actually grow it so that you're getting new viewers, you're converting new leads, and doing some of that stuff. So if you are ready, say I'm ready in the comment area. We're going to jump right into it. And the first thing I want to show you is the strategy for live streaming. What you're looking at right now is called the Video Pro system. And when you follow the Video Pro system, then you have a really strategic way of running a live stream show that has great content, that grabs the right audience and turns that audience into customers. And there's 4 parts of this cycle. The first is your programming skill set. Programming refers to the content that you're going to make. Okay, so what types of videos are you going to make? What types of topics are you going to stream about? Are you doing how-tos? Are you going to do interviews with people? Like, this is stuff that you need to think about beforehand. And if you haven't thought about it yet, well, then now's the time, right? So think about the kind of content that you're going to do and also the kind of content that you're not going to do. Because I see a lot of entrepreneurs getting in trouble with kind of wandering off the path, and you're kind of doing live streams about topics you really shouldn't, that really aren't going to bring people into your business. Okay, now the next part is your production workflow? What does your camera look like? What software are you using, right? What is your lighting scenario looking like? What does your set look like, right? Because your set doesn't have to look like mine. I know that we've got a ton of cool stuff here. I've got some lights. I've got some camera. I'm using my Restream software. I've even got a little switcher here, but the show didn't start this way. We make slow additions over time. And that's why you need to know what is your production workflow, because it needs to be the same each time, every time. Then we talk about promotion. Promotion is how do you get people to the show? And then how do you get people to the replay? Okay, that's two parts. And we usually look at that as internal and external marketing, and you need to know the difference between those two. And then finally, your progress, right? See, it's the video pro system, your progress, programming, production, promotion, and progress. And with progress, what you're really looking at here is how well is your show doing? How many live viewers are you getting, and on what platforms? These are really important questions to answer. And as you're looking at what's working, you want to do more of it, because if it's working, you want to add it into your programming. Okay. So the first thing that I want you guys to have in your heads is this programming strategy called the Video Pro system, because it really answers all of the questions that you want answered. Now, let's kind of move to the next step, which is how to become a live stream producer. All right. This is going to be sort of the meat of our show today. And we're going to talk about, how to actually manage someone's show and the checklist that you need to follow. So Tytastic is saying, I'm a mobile live streamer. Location, location, location. Man, that's the truth. If you are in an area without internet, then that can really bust you. But you can also be ready for that by having a plan B. And if you have no internet, you just record the video portrait style, and then you can upload it a number of different ways, as a YouTube premiere, for example, as a Facebook premiere, and it will appear as a live stream video when you're back where you have internet. So these are great points. What I want to roll through right now is how to actually manage someone's show. So here's the idea. You're a social media manager, and you're doing stuff like posting on Facebook, and you're, posting on people's Instagrams. Look, the reality is that is going to become more and more competitive as the world gets internally globalized, right? Like, I know that we outsource our social media management to the Philippines. Many of our colleagues are outsourcing their social media management to the Philippines and to Pakistan. So being a Canadian-based, a US-based, or a UK-based social media manager, your prices are going to go up, and the amount of people that can afford you is going to go down. But if you can start promoting yourself as a live stream producer, where you help busy entrepreneurs create a live stream show that will get them clients, then you are putting yourself in a very unique position. But how do you do that? Okay. Well, I'm a big believer in checklists. Okay. So the very first thing I want you to think about is your checklist. So what are the things that you have to do to create a show? Because ideally you have like 3 to 5 clients. Ideally, you have like 3 to 5 clients that are paying you to build their shows. How do you do that? Okay. So let's talk about that right now with the checklist. Okay. Step 1 is you need to determine if it's a 30 or a 60-minute show. Now, I've heard from a lot of you out there that you're doing these like 5-minute mobile live streams, or a 20-minute show. I want to warn you, I want to separate that for you. Okay. So my good friend Luria over at Live Streaming Pros has a philosophy, and her philosophy is life streaming versus live streaming. And it's a good idea to get out your mobile phone and to go live from time to time, right? And to, hey, everybody, I'm over here in the park, and this is what I'm feeling, and these are some of the things that I'm thinking of. It's a good idea to do that. But is that your show? I really don't think that that's your show. Your show is a weekly recurring. Now, it could be monthly. I don't recommend monthly, but it could be weekly or twice a month. I don't know if is that bi-monthly or bi-weekly? Twice a month. But you got to do twice a month at a limit. Once a month is fine. That's more like a webinar. But But I want you to focus on doing a once a week show that's either 30 minutes or 60 minutes. Why? Because the average person spends about 20 minutes on Facebook per session. Okay, the average person spends about 20 minutes so in 20 minutes, you've gotten somebody for a full cycle, which means you're likely to hit more people. When you only go live for 5 or 10 minutes, you've already hung up the phone, right? You've already disconnected by the time most of your audience gets an alert. So you're going to lose audience. And here's the thing. You might say, well, I don't know what to cover for a half an hour. Well, we're going to talk about that. Okay. We're going to solve that problem. And it's actually very simple. I've been going live for 20 minutes already. We've barely even scratched the surface. And at the end of the day, we've only been live on the podcast for about 5 minutes. Okay. So filling up the time frame is actually easy, but you need to go live for 30 or for 60 minutes. Now, at 60 minutes, you're getting 3 20-minute group cycles in, which means you're really maximizing your audience while also, ending with a replay that's only like an hour. My good buddy, John Hawkins is a new visitor, guys. Give it up. Good to see you. My good buddy, Nick Nimmin, goes live for about 4 hours on Saturdays. And I think it's wonderful for him. And I think it's wonderful for full-time video creators. But as an entrepreneur, as a business person, you want to have very limited time blocks so that you can do 3 30-minute shows in 90 minutes. Okay. So I'm beating this horse into the ground, but you want to decide on a 30-minute show or a 60-minute show, and you're going to go through this with your client. Now, step 2 is you want to have a title of your show and a value statement. Okay. So literally, folks, what we're doing here is you're going to want to go through this checklist with your client. You're going to want to post on Facebook right now, hey, do you want to start a live stream show? I am now a live stream producer, and I would love to produce your show. Or you're going to say something like, I am on a mission, to find 5 entrepreneurs that want to get customers with live streaming. And you're going to produce their show. And they're going to say, okay, well, how does it work, Indy? Or how does it work, Brigetti? And you're going to sit down with them and do this checklist. Okay. So step 2 is to have a title of the show and a value statement. And this is really important because so many of you have a name for your show that's vague, and it means something deeply interpersonal to you, but to the community, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. And they see this alert coming in, and they don't know whether or not to click on your show. So for example, it's like you could have a name of the show that's like, break out to break through. Well, what does that mean? Is that a show about acne? Do I have a laugh? Is that a show about acne? Or is it a show about female empowerment? Is it a show about weight loss? Or is it a show about cancer research? I really don't know what break out to break through means. If you're building a show about empowering female entrepreneurs, then you might want to call that show something like Empowered Female Entrepreneurs or Empowered Fempreneurs. You see what I'm saying? Did you get that? Okay. Because when that alert comes through, oh, Empowering Female Entrepreneurs is live, all of a sudden now I know exactly what I'm getting into. And so I click on the show where I hopefully hear your value statement. Okay, so let's go to value statement. By the way, I see a lot of questions coming in. I'm going to get to those questions and keep them coming. Ali Reza, great to see you. Larry, Ty, so good to have your comments in there. Let's go back and take a look at this, talk about value statement. So, in our show today, we talked about, in the very beginning, we talked about, live streaming for social media managers. Now, that's the title of today's episode. But then I also had sort of this, today you're going to learn. That's kind of like what we're talking about with the value statement. Your show needs to have a value statement that creates the parameters of the content that you're going to work within. So when you're talking to your client and you're saying things like, let's say that you're a social media manager talking to a lawyer now, you know, and you're going to say, well, what's the show about? Well, I'm going to cover like DUI, like how to get out of a DUI and all the ways that I can help them with traffic and stuff like this. You know, what you're going to want to do is you're going to say, you know, slow down, cowboy. Okay. You're going to say, let's talk about what this show actually does. And you're going to create a framework. So it's like, you know, it's going to be called something like the No More DUI Show, or it's going to be like how to beat your ticket. I love that for like a lawyer show. It's called, hey, welcome back to How to Beat Your Ticket. And in this show, right, we're going to talk about how to, you know, beat DUI. We're going to talk about like best defenses, worst offenses, and we're going to talk about, you know, court protocols, you know, and those are like the 4 legs to your table, right? So you want to be in a place where you have a very clear value statement that sets up the framework for your show, and you do not wander outside that framework. It's like if you were in a pitch black room and you turned on a flashlight onto the wall, you would see that white circle on the wall. That's your show. And you don't wander outside of that circle. That way, every time somebody logs in, they know what they're getting. Okay? Titastic logging in. Kevin Sinclair, Ali Reza, Larry Kozin, good to see. If you guys have questions, ask them in the comment section below. We are pumped to have you here. So let's go back to our list here. The next thing you want to figure out is the time and date of your show. Now, I am so big on this because you cannot build an audience if your audience doesn't know where you are. Okay? Yeah, period. You've got to be in a place where you're live every Monday at 9 a.m., right? Fabian Ortiz logging in, my man. Be sure to DM me later, Fabian. Let me know how you're doing. You want to be in a place where your audience knows where you are. So if you're live and they do this great show, okay? So for example, we just got a comment that this is a great show. I want to make it so that our community can come and join us again. For example, we are live on this show every single Monday at 12 p.m. PST every single week. And I've been live Monday at noon for like the last 4 years. I'm telling you, nobody could take the cake for me when it comes to consistency, right? We wrote the book on consistency, and it's been tremendous for us. So you need to help your client decide on a time and date for the show, and then you need to live stream at that time and date for at least 12 weeks in a row. At least 12 weeks in a row. Why? Because you can't just do it once or twice and switch it because you only got 5 people. You know, you're only going to build audience by choosing, you know, by going live at the same time. Because look, there's 1 billion people on Facebook. Whether you go live at Friday at 1 p.m. or Monday at 8 a.m., your audience, your customers are online. Okay. So it doesn't matter what time you go live. I mean, 3 a.m. may not be the best time, but for the most part, during business hours or in the early evening is a great time to live stream. Pick a time that's best for you and do it for 12 weeks. Right. And then look at your data. How many views did you get? If at that time, if at 12 weeks, you're not at 30 live viewers, then maybe pick a new time and then do that for 12 weeks. Okay. Is my big point there. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is the format of your show. Okay. So at this point, you're going through this questionnaire and you're figuring out, all right, at this point, we're going to do a 30-minute show. It's called like How to Beat Your Ticket, where we show you, you know, the way court works, the way DUI works, and we help you get out of expensive traffic fines. We're going to go live every Monday at 12 p.m. PST. What do we actually say in that show? And that's where we go into the ROS. And by the way, if you want to get a copy of all of these show notes, then be sure to just type money in the comment section below, or you can click the link that's in the YouTube description box right now. Just type money in the comment section and we will send you the checklist that we're going through right now. But let's talk about the format of your show. What's called your ROS. And an ROS is what's called a run of show. Now, the run of show functions sort of like a checklist. I'm a big checklist person. Okay. So forgive me for that. You want to have like an ROS for your show where you are going through with your client what they're going to say first, what they're going to say next, and what they're going to say last. And this way, you as the social media manager, you are preparing the ROS for every show and putting it in front of the talent, putting it in front of the client. Okay, are you with me? That is exactly what Carlos does for this show. He prepares the ROS. We have a meeting, and then Carlos fills in that meeting. Okay? So what should be included in your ROS? Let's take a look at it. So every ROS should include, now you don't, look, if you want to get my ROS format, just type money in the comment section. I see Indy, Chris, VSP, and John have all typed it in. We will send it to you guys later today. Be sure to be ready for us to, I'm going to reach out to you, so be ready to hear from me. But you want to include your, it doesn't have to look this fancy. You could just use a plain, document like Google document, but you want to have your show title so that you know what your show is about. We like to leave a spot for our thumbnail, the YouTube description, and the YouTube tags. And then, of course, we have our pre-show, our hook, and then we have our introduction. And this is just sort of like the beginning of our ROS. But I want you to start with that. I want you to start with your pre-show, okay? So what do you talk about for the first 2 minutes of your show? Now, our pre-show is 10 minutes, but we have an hour show, okay? So we take 10 minutes and we do a pre-show. And during that pre-show, what do? We do Streamer of the Week. We also invite our audience to skip ahead to the 10-minute mark, right? We do a lot of content to help the replay viewer navigate the show a little bit more effectively. Now, that's work yourself into that. Work yourself up to that, okay? For the most part, I want you to have sort of a pre-show. What are you going to do for the first 2 minutes of the show, okay? Then after that, I want you to reset the room with a hook, right? And your hook basically jumps right in. Hey, today we're going to talk about XYZ. So if you're ABC, then join us for today's show, okay? And then I want you to have an introduction. And an introduction is going to be like, my name is Owen. Welcome to the show. You can give me 5. That's right. Type 5 into the comment section now, etc., etc., etc. I have all of this scripted out for you, and you can just copy mine. All you have to do is type money in the comment section below. I see a great question coming in about analytics. We will get to all of your questions as we continue in the show. So you need to create your own ROS for each show that you're producing, right? What are you going to say first? What are you going to say second? How are you going to close the show? Hey, thanks everybody for joining us today. Be sure to subscribe. Tytastic. Don't worry. All the links will be there by the end of the show. So now, what do you do next? Okay, so we've gone through the first couple of steps. You need to have a 30-minute, 60-minute show, title and value statement, time and date, format. Now what you have to do is create your live stream elements. And this show is covered in live stream elements. So as a social media manager, you're probably already creating graphics. And if not, you've got some graphic designers that work underneath you and you make a lot of graphics for your clients. What you want to do now is be in a place where you make graphics for these live stream customers. Now, here are some graphics that we've made. For example, look at all the purple around you. See, I can change my camera, but there's still the black logo. Can you see it right here? Can I point to it? I can't. It's right up here. There we go. The black logo, but you can also see the Tron sort of purple bars underneath here. We made all those. Okay, those are called elements. And there's lots of different elements that you can make. For every client that you bring in, you need to make them custom elements, okay? And there's a bunch of elements that you can make. Let me run through some of my favorites with you so that you get a good sense of what you can make. First of all, here is a look at some live stream elements we made for our last show. Number one is a frame. See where it says stream like you mean it? What that is a transparent PNG. And the part with me in the middle, that's just all transparent. So there's really only text at the top and text at the bottom. The thing on the bottom is called a lower third. Okay, you see what just popped up on your screen? It says enter to win a Rode Pod mic. Those are elements. You see the little triangles on the screen? Those are elements, okay? What you want to do is make your own elements for every client that you have. Titastic, it's been great to have you here. There you go. See, there you want to make lower third elements that match the brand. But also notice behind me. Notice that sun orange circle behind me. That's another background element. So you want to create a background element, a lower third element, an overlay element. You might want to create a countdown element like this. And this one was actually made by my good friend Luria. You might want to make a bumper element. This is one of my favorite things to make. And if you're going to do giveaways, if you're going to do contests, then you might want to have an overlay element. You might want to have a contest element, something like this. We, of course, have some logos. We have some overlays that we use. And all of these tools are part of a package that we make for our clients. Many clients come to us and they say, hey, like social media managers, they say, hey, I'm doing a show. I just brought on a lawyer to do a show, but I need some elements. Can you make them for me? And we absolutely do. You can just go to owenvideo.com/VBE. That's owenvideo.com/VBE. It stands for Video Branding Elements. And when you click on that link, you can go order your own set of custom VBEs for you or for your clients. Okay, let's keep moving here. So after you've created their live stream elements, you're going to create a Calendly link that you can send your guests to. Now, this is really important because any good live stream show is going to have guests from time to time. And when you invite guests, you don't want to do this, oh, good, are you good at 2 p.m. or are you good at 3 p.m.? You don't want to do that. And I'm doing the phone thing. It's email. You don't want to go back and forth on email. Like, it's too good for you. No, it's not good for me. It's too good for you. You don't want to do that. You want to just give them a Calendly link and let them schedule whenever they can. So if you're not familiar with Calendly, it looks a little something like this. And inside of Calendly, look at the top here. We have an hour show, but you can just put 30 minutes. You can even put 35 minutes and have them log in 5 minutes early to test their technology. Now, I will say this, that if you're going to have a guest on your show, you should not have a guest who has never done a Zoom before. Like, you should not be walking people through this process. Okay. You need to be getting people on the show, on your show, that have already done this before. You want good guests. Okay. So you can also set up the Calendly so that they only can pick times that are times that work for you. So if your show is Monday at noon PST, then you got to set up your Calendly so that they can only schedule Monday at noon PST. And you can do all that for free with a link. Just go to calendly.com. I don't have any affiliate links or anything to sell you over there. But here's the thing. Once your guest signs up, they're going to get an auto email. What do you say in that auto email? Well, I'm glad you asked because we have a script for you right here. When your guest finally schedules their appointment, then you're going to want to walk them through the details of your show so that they have everything that they need. And this does a couple different things. Number one is that you don't have to teach them what to do, but they also have this email that they can always go back to and look at and say, okay, I can go and I can find all of my links there. Okay. So these are really important, features to have, because as a social media manager, if you bring on a client that wants to interview guests, it's going to be your job largely to get the guests. Now, here's something that's really important to think about. If your client is this high-end lawyer, right, then and he wants to have another high-end lawyer on his show that he knows, they went to law school together, he's going to have to write that person and introduce you or send the link himself. There's no way you as the social media manager should be spending your time like knocking down some stranger's door, right? So I think that when you're a social media manager doing live streaming, you got to really think about what your role is and what your role is not. Your role is to provide the framework for the client, but your role is not to do their job for them, right? If they have clients then or people they want to have on the show, then they need to find those people themselves. Okay, let's go back to our checklist and keep building out our show. So you want to create a Calendly link and then send the template to your future guest. And then step 7 is actually to get Restream. And Restream is the software that we're using right now to broadcast onto multiple Facebook groups, multiple YouTube channels, and onto LinkedIn, where practically nobody watches. But that's okay. That's okay, because we have great audience like Edward, like Indy, like Carlos, like John on Facebook and YouTube. And so we're not worried about where the audience isn't. We're interested in where the audience is. With all that being said, Restream is a fantastic software. Now, Restream does a couple different things. First of all, you need to have a broadcast studio, okay? Unless you're like from TV and you have your own TV station, you're going to need a software. There's lots of different softwares out there. We have tried almost all of them. Like if it's brand new, we haven't tried it yet. Restream is the best. Restream gives you tons of functionality and it broadcasts in the best signal. And I'll tell you, let me show you some of the best parts of it. As a social media manager, you can set up all the events inside of Restream and then invite your client as a guest and put your guest on. That's what we're doing right now. Carlos set all of this up. Carlos is my social media manager, and he sets all of the show up. So all I have to do is show up to the show, and then he presses all the buttons. It's really a great relationship. And with Restream, you can broadcast your message through RTMP. You could even log into Zoom and broadcast your Zoom with Restream. You can also rebroadcast your stream on up to 250 different sites. Like I was on someone else's show the other day, and we were on Twitch, we were on YouTube. It was awesome. We had great audience all over the web. Plus, you get your own broadcast studio. So again, you don't want to have to buy any fancy softwares. You want to be in a place where all of your stuff is provided for you. Now, on Restream, you have cloud storage so that you can grab copies of your recorded podcast and turn them into social media content, repurpose them into Square videos. You can also invite guests. You can share screens. You can upload previously pre-recorded video. And remember all those video branding elements that we talked about? You can add them to Restream so they show up on the screen. Plus, you get access to all of these different analytics that will help you to see how much your show is growing. Now, this is a big key as a social media manager. You want to be able to send this to your client every week and say, look at how good we did. Look at what really went well. Too many social media managers today are like being paid for posting and not necessarily like getting a result from the posting. With live streaming, you'll get better results than any of your posts, and you'll get them pretty fast. Plus, you're able to set up events that you can now pre-promote and post-promote on social media to help your show grow even more. So let's go back and let's take a look at our checklist here. So we talked about getting Restream. We talked about next is do your first practice show, and then finally schedule your first event and launch the show. So you can schedule your event inside of Restream, as we just mentioned. But the first thing that you want to do is practice with your client. Carlos and I practiced for about 15 minutes. Maybe more like 30 minutes, depending on the complexity of the show. Like I practice pressing all the buttons and making sure all the buttons work. We want to make sure that all the sound effects work. Tech audit, that's a great question. I want to answer that one first. So we've got a whole bunch of sound effects here that you guys can hear. We want to make sure that all of those work. We want to make sure that all the different things work here. And so we do that by testing our show together and getting the flow. And then what we do is we schedule our shows and we get them ready to go. So if you have been paying attention the whole time, what you'll notice is that we've done a couple different things. We've talked about live streaming to get leads for yourself, and we talked about how to do that. We also talked about live streaming for clients. And thirdly, I talked about how to live stream for repurposing. I'm going to go through that very quickly, and then I want to answer your questions. Here's the trick to repurposing. When you go live, you want to download a recording, and then you want to turn it into Square videos for social media. And Square videos are very, very effective. Now, your live stream might be 30 minutes, but these videos should only be about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. And there are 5 parts to a Square video. You want to have a frame. You want to have a headline area. you want to have your main 16:9 video, and you want to have a captions area right here. Now, what I would suggest you do is that you go make, 5 or 6 custom frames that you can easily drag and drop your videos into like this. And you'll notice that for each of these videos, let's go back to the frame. Each of these has sort of its own little caption area. And I'll show you those examples. Like this is an example of captions style number 1, where the captions are in the lower right-hand side. Here is captions number 2. This is only 2 lines of captions, whereas this is 3 lines of captions. And then, of course, we have your standard 2-line caption style number 3 right here. But as a social media manager, you want to be in a place where you can easily take your client's 30-minute, 60-minute live stream, find 3 to 5 1-minute snippets that you can pull out and make into a square video, and promote that online for the client to make sure that the show is growing. Oh, thank you everybody for your time today. No, I appreciate it. It's really good. Now it's Q&A time. It's time for you to ask your questions in the comment section. And we're going to spend the rest of our time answering your questions today. But if you are a social media manager, or if you are a lawyer or a consultant and you need help with your show, then visit thevideomarketingschool.com. That's thevideomarketingschool.com, and speak to one of our coaches. We can help you get your show off the ground. Okay, let's go into Q&A for today. All right, because we have a lot of great content. We have a lot of great questions coming in here today. I'm going to have Carlos put the questions up on the screen, and I'll answer them as we go. So Carlos, go ahead and get me our first question is in TikTok analytics. Okay, so we're kind of like doing like questions on anything now. So in TikTok analytics, average watch time and watched full video, what do they mean when they have the blue color and the gray color? Okay, Doc Rocks, good to see you. Okay, so the gray color is your average, and the blue color is that particular video. So you want your blue color to be performing above the gray color. So if you're seeing that your blue color, your blue line is above the gray line, it means that your average watch time is for that video, for that TikTok, is above the average watch time on your video. That's a great question. And it comes from a viewer on my channel on YouTube, which is the @OwenVideo channel, where we do talk a lot about not just live streaming, but we talk about TikTok, we talk about brand deals, and really, how to make a 6-7 figure income with video. Great question. Krister Bovin is asking, can you stream directly on your website with Restream? Great question. You absolutely can. And what you would want to do is probably use the RTMP feature. Now, it's a bigger answer than that, because with Restream, you can basically stream anywhere that a broadcast studio can stream. So you can go right to Facebook directly, or right to YouTube directly, or to YouTube and to Facebook directly at the same time. So Chris, the real question is, what kind of website do you have? My guess it's a WordPress website. And then it's, what plugin are you going to use? I would recommend that the easiest thing to do is to stream onto your YouTube channel. And what you'll do is you'll create an event inside of Restream, which will, by default, create an event on your YouTube channel. You'll then, you'll then embed that event into your web page, and you'll invite viewers to go to your web page, where they will see the live video, but they will be watching it on YouTube, thereby giving your YouTube channel the views and the watch time. Okay, so that is a big tip, and I hope that you will use that. I'd love to know more, Chris, about what you're going to stream about. That's a really, really great question. Okay, our next question is coming from Tech Audit TV. Hey, Tech Audit, we should stay in touch. I love what I love the name of your channel, and I'm way into tech myself. He says, or Tech Audit, they say, do you ever worry that multi-streaming splits up your audience? Yes, absolutely, I do. And we have actually tested going live in a concentrated place like my Facebook page, and going live on multiple Facebook products. Like I'm live right now on my Facebook profile, my Facebook page, and like 2 or 3 Facebook groups, 2 Facebook pages as I think about it. And yes, I would much rather put all my audience into one place. I would much rather do that. However, we get more views and we get higher watch time when we multi-stream. Why? Because of the Facebook algorithm. Okay, now you're watching on YouTube. YouTube is a much cleaner, much more predictable algorithm. The challenge with YouTube with this particular show is that the people who have subscribed to the Restream channel, which is our main host channel, typically, they didn't necessarily ask or subscribe to live streaming tips. Really, what they were subscribing to was Restream tips. And so that can discourage our audience. And so I think that multi-streaming is a strategy everyone has to consider. Now, what would I suggest as a live stream expert? I would suggest that you live stream everywhere for like 6 weeks and get people to opt in. And then once you have like this small audience base, go live for another 3 weeks and tell everyone that you will only be live streaming on YouTube from now on. Okay, this is exactly how we built up the Business of Video podcast, which was one of the most successful business/YouTube podcasts ever. Just ask anybody who's familiar. It was a great show, converted into a podcast. So I want you to think about that as you're thinking about your live stream strategy. Okay, would YouTube be more likely to suggest my stream if I have a large number of viewers instead of my viewers being spread out? Not necessarily. It all comes down to watch time. So you'll notice that at the very beginning of this video, what we say is, if you want to skip ahead, then skip ahead to the 10-minute mark. You guys may not have seen that, but I put this up. Carlos, can we put that up? I put skip ahead to the 10-minute mark on my page. That way, people can just go right to the 10-minute mark. Carlos, can we get that up? Let's take Tech Audit TV's quote down. Why do we do that? Because I don't want, see, I put this up in the very beginning of my show, and I put this up for the replay viewers because the moment that we start like talking about giveaways and, the streamer of the week, our replay viewers bail out. And so I would rather not lose the watch time. So yes, your live viewers matter, but it doesn't matter as much as the amount of time that they watch. So if I were you, Tech Audit, I would be looking at ways to keep them on longer and make that your primary goal. But for now, I would live stream on as many channels as you can, build up an audience for your show, and then push them into one channel. That's what I would recommend for you. It's not right for everybody. That's what I would recommend for you, just knowing what I know right now. Okay, great question. Next question, Carlos. Derry Petty is saying, can you do picture-in-picture? I sure can. Now, here's the deal. I can do picture-in-picture. Carlos, will you turn your camera on and just jump on with me? I'm going to have Carlos jump on so that we can show you got to turn your camera on, though, my brother. So Carlos is kind of like, wasn't my goal to make it appear that way, but yeah. So Derry is asking, can you do picture-in-picture? Yes, I can, but not every show is set up for us to do picture-in-picture. So if we were to have a guest on the show, then yes, we would want to do picture-in-picture. So Carlos, go ahead and jump on and let's show what picture-in-picture looks like. So we've got Carlos right here with picture-in-picture, and I could even do, something like this, and I could share my screen with picture-in-picture, and I can even go, back through the tutorial again. I can also obviously bring it right back here. I could do some other cool stuff like I've got me and Carlos sort of in this design. So yes, there are quite a few things that I can do. However, not every show is designed for picture-in-picture. Keep in mind, like every time I do a PIP, thank Carlos, by the way, everyone give it up for Carlos, by the way, who, if nothing else, he has to put up with me. If nothing else, he has to put up with me. Doc Rock is saying the handsomest level will increase by 50% when Carlos Zepeda comes on. That is the truth. And Doc Rock, big Air 5 for the excellent gear, everybody. I got this gear from the doc, and it looks amazing. And by the way, I look pretty good in a smaller size t-shirt. I'm kind of going one size lower. Craig Galbraith is logging in. He asked the question too, but yes, not every show is picture in picture. And guys, the more complicated you make your show, like the more work you're asking yourself to do it. Okay, John D. Hawkins is asking a great question. He's saying, how do you test a social media account to practice your show? Wonderful, wonderful question. If you're a social media manager or a live stream producer and you're producing shows for clients, then you want to have your own private Facebook group called, John Hawkins live stream practice group. Okay. And so this will be a Facebook group where all of your clients belong. And what you will do is you will test the show inside that group. And here's what that does. Number one is it allows you to rehearse your show with your client, and nobody will see it publicly, right? So you can practice it and know that no one's going to see it. The second thing that you'll be able to do is your other clients will be able to see other people's shows. And that's really important to keeping your client base sort of growing and getting results. I see a lot of social media managers, and I kind of think of social media managers as coaches and consultants almost. What you've got to think about is it's not just about did I make the show? Because this is where you guys are going to lose clients. It's like, did I make the show? Yeah, I made the show, but did the client get results? Right? If the client didn't get results, then they're gonna switch off the service. They're gonna find someone else that can do it. And you know what? They won't, and they won't continue their show. And in the back of their minds, they're gonna connect that all to you. So by bringing your clients together in an atmosphere where they're seeing each other and growing from each other, but they're not showing the world publicly, you've created your own mastermind. And that's a really powerful place to be. So to create a test, what you want to do is create your own social media group. Sexy Slim is out there. Aiden Jenkins is logging in, and Yasir Saeed, great to see you. Craig Galbraith is asking a daily double question. Wow, what a question. He's asking, what is a good rate to charge for your time remote producing? Okay, great question. Here's the thing. You're going to have to charge two different ways. You're going to want to charge a setup fee, okay? You can't get away from this. And then once you do the setup, that's where you're going to go through the checklist. Okay. Is it a 30-minute or a 60-minute show? How many elements are you creating for them? Are you going to be managing guests, et cetera, et cetera? Okay. So you're going to want to have a fee that covers your time for that meeting. Depending on your confidence level, I would say $500 to $2,500. Really, I think it's going to be hard to get $2,500 in today's marketplace. I do. So I would go $500 to $1,000 for that meeting. And what you're going to do is call that like a live stream blueprint. Okay. So they're going to walk away with a blueprint for their live stream show that they can use with or without you. All right. This is key because you don't want to spend time in like a meeting that didn't get charged for. Then they bail out and they decide to go like have their cousin produce the show using all the work you just did. Now, I know that nobody we know would ever do that, but it does happen. It's happened to me. So you want to be in a place where you're like, okay, it's $1,000. We sit down, we do a consultation, we blueprint your show, and we follow this checklist. By the way, if you would like to get that checklist, then just type money in the comment section right now. And when you do, we will send you our checklist. Just type money in the comment section. And you go through the checklist with them. You find out how big their show is going to be and how much time it's going to take. And then you come up with a charge for them. Now, I would charge not for your time, but per show. So I would be looking at, it's like an hour per week to plan their show, and then an hour per week to run their show. That's 2 hours of your time, and they know it. Maybe add a third hour in there. Okay, so you're billing for 3 hours a week, correct? If your rate is $60 an hour, you're looking at like $240 a week. If your rate is like $25 an hour, I would maybe double it. And for live streams, you go to to $500 or excuse me, $50 an hour. So it's like $150 a week to manage the show. Okay. We typically pay our producers somewhere around $500 to $1,000 to manage a client's show. And again, that's 1 hour a week in prep, 1 hour a week executing the show. All right. So think about it like that. If you can get more, get more. Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. It all depends on like your ability to sell and of course, what marketplace you're in. Carlos, Larry Kozin is saying, I think I owe Owen and Teresa some money. This weekly show has paid off big time for us. Larry, I love to see stuff like that. Thanks for being here and participating in the show. Cube TV Ghana is saying, but Owen, can I get 2 different Facebook Lives via Restream? Yes, absolutely. Now, on the Restream free account, you can go live on multiple different platforms. On the $16 plan, then you can go live on multiple pages, profiles, and groups on multiple platforms. So on the free plan, you can only go onto one Facebook product. But on the $16 plan, then you can go into as many Facebook products as you want. You can go on Facebook groups, Facebook pages, 3 Facebook groups, 2 pages, and 8 profiles. Go nuts, kid. You can do it all. So yes, I would recommend getting that. And by the way, if you do get or upgrade your account this month, you get entered to win a Rode Pod mic. Okay, any other questions coming in? What do we got? I thought we had some other good ones in there, but maybe we did it. Okay, we got them all in. All right. Hey, it was great to. Are we good? All right. Okay, I think we're done. Hey, everybody, it was so good to be here with you today. And remember, you can join us live every single Monday at noon PST. Next week, we're going to go even deeper into another strategy for live streaming. I'm Owen Video. The show is brought to you by Restream. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow on Facebook, or type money in the comment section now to join our mailing list. We're going to send you a bunch of free tools when you do, some things to help you get started live streaming, and we'll let you know every time we go live. I'm Owen Video. We will see you next week. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.